Are you ready? You think you can tell us what to do? You think you can tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masters.
Welcome to Heels Forever podcast. This is your host, Kenny Edelman, joined by my co-host, as always, Brody James. How you doing, Brody?
What up? How we
We
feeling?
took a little holiday break. It's been a while since we got a podcast up, so it's nice to get back in the flow of things, get everything centered and ready to go as we get into not only the Royal Rumble, but also WrestleMania season. So this is a very exciting time. This is probably my favorite time when it comes to WWE for sure. How are you feeling about the aftermath of Survivor Series?
I feel great about it. I enjoyed watching it. I was happy I watched the event. I think the landscape's better. I think there's more options now. I think and just more chatter about the promotion. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, most definitely. And before we even begin, there's something that I have to dive into very quickly. I am the fucking mark here because Triple H just put on a fucking masterclass on how to psych people out and piss them off all at the same time. I was in the middle of driving back from Ohio to Florida during Survivor Series, so I didn't really get to catch it. Got home mid Sunday, decided I was just going to check out the main event, make sure, nothing crazy happens. You've been hearing the CM Punk rumblings back and forth. Is he coming back? The WWE says they're not signing him back. There's no interest there. The main event pops off. It was a great main event. Randy Orton is fucking jacked. The dude looked great. And then, the credits roll. You have the little trademark come up. Pay-per-view's over. People are pissed. They're like, oh, of course we're not getting CM Punk like we thought. Then his fucking music hits, man. And as soon as I heard it, I just kind of put my hands in my head. I'm like, I feel like we're taking a step back here. I don't like it. I think it's going to end up causing problems. And I don't like that, as we've stated before, we have so many avenues of possible championship matches now with all these different storylines. And he's going to come in and get the first bat. And how do you feel about it? Are you glad he's back?
Yes, I am. Because I feel like it's not what they've been missing. Not that they don't have stars, brother, but it other than Roman, there wasn't one like this. Cody too, okay, maybe, but we're talking about 2 or 3 guys. And I think the more guys you have like that, the better the product becomes. And I think that's why we enjoyed what we grew up watching so much, is because there wasn't too much of a gap between mid-card guys and top, billing wrestlers. So,
Right.
and I think that if we can get back to that, I mean, that's what I said, like putting guys like Drew with Gunther for the Intercontinental, like you're only strengthening the titles as you go down the line. And if you can have, guys that maybe, yes, they'll come in and out as, for the top belt or whatever, but if they can get those rubs from guys like that, I mean, you need 4 or 5 top guys, to build good feuds and keep things interesting. It's 12 months in a year, so.
Right. Yeah, and I think my biggest thing with it is when CM Punk was at the height in WWE, what was that, 2007, 2008, somewhere along that timeline, I believe. I was kind of taking a break from it. By the time I had
Okay.
stopped watching, there was no CM Punk. And by the time I found myself coming back to wrestling, it was already after the pipe bomb
Era.
and everything else.
Yeah.
So I never saw anything from him. And the only time I really caught him was in AEW. I just don't think like I'm kind of struggling to see why so many people go crazy over him because to me, like in the ring, he's not something that stands out, far few in between. Like, and maybe I'm missing, maybe he's got great mic skills. I don't know, but it's just something's not there for me at this point that I still can't figure out why everybody loves him. But hopefully within the next couple of months, I get proved wrong. I would be more than happy to be proved wrong in this situation, but only time's going to tell on that one.
For sure.
So I did want to get your opinion on Survivor Series as a whole, because like I said, I didn't really get a chance to watch a lot of it. My schedule was pretty busy, so I caught the main event, caught CM Punk coming back. But other than that, is there anything in particular that kind of stuck out to you that you wanted to touch base on?
Yes. And it's something that you're going to be like, bro. It was the Broads War Games match.
Really?
Yeah, it was heat. It was absolutely fire, bro. I was like, oh, shit, this is good. And there was a lot of different moments. Becky and Charlotte were like getting kumbaya again a little bit, but they were busting ass. Like, the women did it right. They did they didn't chintz out. They had high spots. Like, the Broad came off the top of the fucking cage with a garbage can over her head onto
that's
everybody.
What I was just about to say. I got the website pulled up, and the very first shot that I'm seeing is in the trash can. Can't even tell who it is. I'm going to guess it was probably Kairi Sane that took that spot. I think she did that one in NXT.
Either her or the Broad with the Shotzi. No, I think it was Kairi Sane.
Yeah, and just looking at, I'm not watching these videos here, but it looked like there was a ton of high spots in it, and I
MVP of the match was Bayley, no doubt.
Really?
Yes, because not only did she bust ass when she had the opportunity with all of her team in there, by the time things got evened out, she was taking bumps from everyone, like and hero fucking bumps too, bro. Like, she got her ass whooped and did it gracefully, but she was absolutely the MVP of the match. She was in it from the jump. She you could see she fucking had the control the whole time. It was good. I thought she was.
Here's the thing about Bayley to me. Like, I feel like she has these runs where she's very good in the ring. She's very good at telling the story. But then I also feel like there have been so many times where it just didn't click. I'm haven't really been too big on damage control as a whole either. But now that, you got Kairi Sane and Asuka now there with them, and they're kind of phasing Bayley out of it. I'm kind of curious to see what happens next and when we're going to get that Bayley turn, because eventually it's coming to a head where they're going to either just beat the shit out of her or she's going to end up beating the shit out of one of them. So
I feel like it was on Raw or SmackDown. One of them, she told Bayley, kind of like, hang back, like, get your shine box.
Yeah. And you could SmackDown, see, she was like, oh, you stay here. Yeah,
correct.
But that was the thing too, she told her to stay there, but then Bayley ended up coming out and getting herself involved in the match anyway. So
correct.
They're kind of sending you that message of, all right, shit's about to get real. So I'm just waiting for that moment. And I think you're going to get it probably in the Rumble, if I had to guess. I feel like you're going to have a situation where Bayley's going to get eliminated or Bayley's going to eliminate one of them. It should be good.
Oh, yeah.
And I want the listeners to know that you had told me something last week, based on previous conversations we've had about a certain wrestler that holds a title. I hear that you're starting to grow a little bit on Gunther.
Yes. I don't know if it was so much him or the fact that he had a fire match with The Miz. I was catching up. I got the promo going in before the match. I was like, oh, this is good. And Miz is obviously one of the great Intercontinental champions, and it's one of my favorite belts. But I'm like, all right, I seen Miz kind of sell to him, but I also seen him sell to The Miz too. And I seen him like kind of, it wasn't a squash at all. Even though he's supposed to be this kind of character, he had absolute respect for The Miz, bro. And he let them work the whole knee angle and everything for the whole fucking match. There was points I thought The Miz was going to win the match. And I was like, oh shit, here we go. But it kind of turned me on a little bit as far as seeing like the in-ring work. And then the mic skills can be, they could be spruced up, over any time. So it just takes the right situation for him to say the right thing. And all of a sudden he's the hottest thing on the mic. And,
well, and that's the thing that's like the good thing for him too, is because he's a heel without being really labeled as a heel, right? So when you're in a situation where you are kind of like, the for a lack of a better term, like you know how WWE we had what the hell was that guy's name? But they always try to make, like the foreigners the bad guys, right?
Fucking
Back when
Snitsky, whatever his name was. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, I
So like
know.
you have these guys who
Yeah.
because of the language barrier, they're not fantastic on the mic.
The Great
But
Khali. Yeah,
yeah, but it's
I
like,
got you.
with the situation he's in right now, it's not really something that he needs to have to be successful in the character that he's going with. So,
No.
I mean,
And
yeah,
all you
he
need
could
to do is
definitely
stick Paul Heyman with him, and the shit is over.
right, and he could definitely polish it up a little bit. But the one thing I did
Correct.
want to add to this was when I was in Ohio, I did go to they had a Saturday night main event that I went to, and it was Gunther and Chad Gable for the IC
Oh,
title.
that's
Now,
nice.
obviously, it's a fucking house show, bro. Like the title's not changing, but there were so many points in that match that Gunther was putting him over to the point where I was like, oh shit, maybe it's gonna be a situation where the title is gonna change hands at a fucking house show because it has happened before, but
Of
he's
course.
just very good at making everyone else in the ring look good as well, and it's just getting better and
I
better.
fucks
And
with it.
I'm not going to be surprised if they could very easily have him winning the Rumble, and it would kind of make sense to me a little bit.
I could
Other
see it.
than
I
LA
think they're
Knight,
gonna get back to
obviously,
shit that
but
they used to do in the '90s, bro. Like where we don't know what the fuck's gonna go on. I was thinking that the whole time watching the fucking PLE, bro. Was like, wow, I actually do feel like a kid again because I don't know who's gonna win, what's going
right.
on at
And
every
I think
moment of
that's
the
kind
fucking pay
of
per view.
I think that's kind of why they're running all these angles. Like as much as I like to bitch about it, it is nice that it's to the point where you actually do have to kind of sit down and think about it. A couple months ago, you could be like, "Oh, this is what's happening. This is why it's happening," and you were right 99% of the time. So it's nice that they're giving the options, and I can't fucking wait to see what we get moving forward. The
There's
one
so
thing,
much good talent, bro. So much good talent.
so there's one match on here from Survivor Series that I'm kind of curious about because I didn't even see it in the card. The Santos Escobar and Dragon Lee. Was this
It was
just
a good
kind of?
match. 15, 20-minute match. Solid. Few high spots. Real technical.
But
Everything you'd think it would be.
my big thing is you have him like feuding with Carlito and the rest of the LWO. I just don't see why this match was on a PLE. Like, is
Or
there
at least on
something
the
that I
main. Should have been on the
missed?
pre-show.
Yeah, I'm like, was there like a storyline that I was in the bathroom for on one show and I
I
missed
just
it?
think they
But
threw something. It was bro. They put on matches like this for the sake of the event, for people who are in the audience.
right.
To see high spots and exciting shit. Like they build everything into the card, and I think they're starting to do that again. I think it was what made them successful again in the time that we came up loving it, and that everyone fucking loved it. And they're slowly getting back to doing things like that.
Well, yeah, and like I said to you last night, I think, if they push Dragon Lee in the right way, I think he can definitely be, the next kind of Rey Mysterio that
Correct.
few have
Moving to
tried,
Guerrera.
but I think he's going to be a bright star moving forward. And to kind of spin off of that, I also think we have another bright star that's going to be moving up a little bit. And I'm not sure how you feel about her, but I think Zoe Stark is fucking fantastic. I saw her in Canton as well. She was
Another thing.
one-on-one with
Yep.
Becky Lynch, and she looked fucking amazing. I didn't catch the match at Survivor Series, but
Same thing.
I
And
yeah,
with
same
Rhea
thing.
though, but it was same thing. She was great in the ring. It was a great match to watch as far as like for the broads. It didn't feel slow. She was on point. She sold. Rhea sold for her too. Again, there was a lot of compromise, but it solid fucking match. I felt the
Yeah,
same thing. I didn't really like it too much coming into it. And you see the promo, you see the in ring work. You're like, all right,
yeah, and I think the biggest thing with her at the beginning of it was, you kind of had that Trish storyline that never ended up going anywhere. So who knows what the
fucking
fuck that
waste,
was all
man.
about? But
Waste.
and even like seeing her on the show a couple of times, like it wasn't anything that blew me away. But when I saw her in Canton against Becky Lynch and they put on a fucking clinic, bro, and I was like, all right, she definitely deserves to be in the position that she's in right now. But I think eventually she's going to end up having that belt at some point. I don't think it'll ever be her beating Rhea by any means, but I could see the title moving to like Raquel or something like that, and moving into Stark's hands at that point.
Fair play. Good assessment.
All right, so then pretty much covered everything on Survivor Series. Like I said, the main event was fantastic. Even Damian Priest fucking looked good.
I know.
And JD McDonough, bro, like after you had told me how good he was on the pre-show, the last PLE with Sami Zayn, I've been
For
paying
Crown
more
Jewel, yeah,
attention
yeah.
to her or to him, and he's looking good, man. He's definitely got it to the point where I'm actually interested in what he's doing. So he definitely has that going for him. Um, Anything that you wanted to mention on the main event? Anything that stuck out to you?
Just Randy Orton. Being Randy Orton was fucking mint.
Fucking
I enjoyed that. I
jacked.
enjoyed Sami Zayn too.
Yeah, it was nice too. I believe they had one spot where they kind of all hit their finisher. Um,
Yeah, of
it's
course, of
nice when
course, of course.
I definitely want to see more of Sami Zayn and even Drew McIntyre. I think they need to kind of keep these angles going with the heavyweight title because it makes everything a lot more interesting now that it's not, oh, we're gonna do Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins part 5, or
Oh
just
no, bro,
it,
that's not. We need to
it's
cool off that a little bit.
right. And it's nice to kind of have some options there, so it's not rinse and repeat 24/7 Roman. um, but it, did you end up catching Raw the following night at all, or
Yes, I did.
it
I've
was
been on it. Kind of Survivor Series sparked me a little bit, bro. I'm like, I kind of want to give them the time of day now. I'm like, all right, we're coming into the season, and like I said,
right?
there's a lot of talent. If they were smart, bro, a few of these guys that they kind of have lingering up at the top of the card should drop down a little bit, build themselves some value, give those cards a little bit of something to be excited about. A lot of talent, dude.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing I wanted to bring up on Raw is, we're starting to see a lot of good tag teams again. I
There
feel
you
like they've
go.
been listening to the show because I want to say it was our first episode. We were talking about the lack of the tag team, so they're kind of just throwing teams together. But
No depth, nothing, no
yeah, and then
characters,
this
nothing
tag
invested.
team turmoil that was Monday night was fantastic. The Creed brothers looked fucking great. They're red hot right now.
Yes, sir.
Could definitely see them ending up having a title run at some point, especially when during the turmoil they just, for instance, they beat Into Sheer, or no, I'm sorry, DIY beat Into Sheer to start out. But then the Creed brothers took out DIY, the fucking New Day, and then
Yep.
Imperium. Like, to
Yep.
me, what else says, hey, we're about to put the titles on these guys other than that? Because you're
Agreed.
starting to see a little bit of the Judgment Day breakdown coming here. So I feel like the titles are kind of going to start dispersing as they dismantle.
That would be amazing because it's time for them to start letting them come out as singles. And like I said, it'll strengthen every division too, like of the titles.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely think, the problem with having these factions is it just gets old after a while. Like,
Correct.
unless you have a great fucking faction, and we haven't had one, in my opinion, since DX. Um,
True.
it makes it tough to kind of really give a shit about it. So I'm glad they're kind of moving back into the traditional tag teams. Maybe a couple of them have a manager here and there, but the factions, I think, they're kind of getting played out a little bit. So I think they're
Yeah, they got to
moving
cool
towards
off.
taking a break on it for a while. Um,
I agree.
the other thing that kind of shocked me was, you have these Shinsuke promos that have been going on for weeks. Everybody's thinking that, oh, he's talking about this guy. He's talking about CM Punk. Nobody fucking knows who Shinsuke's talking about. Turns out that he's been talking about Cody Rhodes this entire time. Cody came out and said that he
Caught the
was,
mist.
yeah, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, he comes out, he says he's entering the Royal Rumble. and a part of me wants to really think that Cody's going to end up getting the win. But then you have Shinsuke come out and just red mist the fuck out of this man. And I'm like, here we go, branching out another storyline that's probably not going to fucking matter in 3 weeks. Like,
They don't need it to matter. They only need it to matter for 3 weeks.
well, but that's the
Probably
thing.
to or at least like 5 or 6, at least to like the Rumble.
Well, that's the thing that kind of
fucking
pisses me
button.
off, though, is because to me, when they start these rivalries and these storylines with 4 or 5 weeks to go until the Rumble, and then we're not going to get anything built off of that, most likely 99% of the time. To me, you should just stick with what you've already got going and just kind of build it up stronger rather than starting a couple other ones that really aren't going to matter in the long run.
Yeah, I got you. For sure.
Then following that one, we had Nia Jax and Zoe Stark. Like I said, I think Zoe Stark's fucking great, but they had her fucking job to Nia Jax, and it just doesn't make sense to me that, and I get it in the grand scheme of things, you want to make Nia Jax look like this fucking powerhouse. But as you
they got her,
said,
bro. They got her.
you just had Zoe Stark fucking go the distance with Rhea
And look good, too.
and look great, and then you have
correct.
Nia Jax just kind of wipe the floor with her. So that shit just kind of pisses me off, and I wish they would kind of get that figured out too, because we kind of mentioned this last night when we were having our discussion. They're kind of doing the same thing to LA Knight. Like, they kind of build these people up, and then they're like, oh fuck, we built them up too fast, we have nowhere to go with them, let's knock them down a couple notches. So it's just getting to the point where I'm like, bro, just give me some good stuff. Like, that's all I want. I don't want to see somebody on TV once and then they're gone for 3 weeks and then they get squashed. Yeah. So
Correct. Yeah, I got you.
And then it was also announced on Monday that basically, let me set the picture for you here. Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins in the ring. McIntyre wants a rematch. Seth Rollins
Or singing the
essentially
same
tells
song.
him like, yo, bro, wish I could, blah, blah, blah. I did what's best for you. But then he said that he's giving Jey Uso a title shot next Monday. So
Yeah, he said there's other people in line that deserve it
yeah.
more than him. This guy Drew came off as such a wimpy simp motherfucker, bro. This is one of the bigger guys in the company, and you got him on TV like crying, like fucking, oh man, where's my shot? Where's my time, bro? This guy should be decimating people on a weekly basis.
Well, and
I don't understand.
A part of me feels like they're kind of building to that point. To me, it looks like, setting up one of those situations where like I'm continuing to take the shit, and eventually I'm just going to blow up and start fucking wiping everybody out. So I think that's kind of what you're leaning towards. And I can definitely tell you that next Monday, well, tomorrow, that match isn't going to end. It's going to end by a DQ. You're going to see Drew come out and just claymore the fuck out of Jey Uso, which I kind of don't like, because I feel like Jey Uso has done a damn good fucking job too with the push he's been given, and he's definitely been a lot more interesting. Like,
Fact.
back in the day, if you had Jey Uso or Jimmy Uso, whichever one got the fucking DUI and they were suspended for 6 months or whatever, I didn't give a fuck about the other Uso. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a one-on-one match. Who gives a fuck? But now I'm like, yo, I wouldn't be mad if you put a belt on Jey Uso. Like,
no, not at all.
And he's good, like he's entertaining, but it just pisses me off that I know that Drew's going to end up coming down there. But like I texted you the other day, I could easily see this setting up, like a fucking triple threat or a fatal 4-way or even a fatal 5-way for the title at Mania. So we could potentially be building up to a great main event.
I agreed with you when you said that. I thought that was definitely coming. They got to do something. There's too much around the belt. I wouldn't mind anyone really getting it. I just want there to be a good story with it going to Mania.
Right. Yeah, and there's only a few ways they can fuck it up, so I'm really just praying that it never gets to that point. next up, we had Chelsea Green, Piper Niven defeated Tegan Knox and Natalya to retain the women's tag team titles.
Seen that? Uninterested.
Yeah, the women's division, we've said this multiple times, it's just not that interesting, especially the tag teams.
Yeah, that
Obviously
was
the
a spot
solos.
filler right there.
Yeah, and that's what kind of pisses me off too. It's like, they finally gave everyone that wanted the women's tag team titles. They're like, okay, we'll do it. But now it's like, oh, we'll do it, but we're only going to defend the titles maybe once every 8 months, or even put them on TV once a month or some shit like that. Like half the time, I forget they even have them. So
That's how you know the tag team division is weak in the because, like, listen, bro, I'm seeing women that don't even dress the same. You know what I mean? Like when you're a tag team, when you're a true tag team, like your gear reflects that of
right,
such. They got
yeah,
everyone out here in different personalities, different roles, nothing really to gel about them. They're not doing tag team moves. Like no one's doing, double team moves and shit like that. And I don't know.
yeah, it's definitely not the same as when we were kids, and the tag teams never really fought solo ever. If they did, it was a one-off every now and then, but it's definitely not the same anymore. I think they're trying to give themselves too many options in that division, and I think it's kind of starting to backfire on the tag titles. Even the same could be said about the championship on SmackDown. Like it's not that enticing right now. Like there's not a lot of feelers out there for the belt, but on the other hand, you have Raw, and Rhea Ripley is fucking on fire right now. A lot of good female talent on the Raw side. So it's kind
I
of
agree.
more so SmackDown that needs to take a step back and figure out where the fuck they're at.
They're not
Don't want to
building
spend
anyone. That's right.
right, yeah. So just gonna move off this
Uh,
one quickly.
for sure, for sure.
You had Randy Orton went 1-on-1 with Dirty Dom. Uh,
Loved it.
you know,
Loved it.
I saw Dom in Canton as well. It was Dom and Sami Zayn. They actually opened up the show. As
Okay.
much as I've said in the past that I don't think Dom is a good wrestler, he's definitely come a long way from where he was. Obviously, the
True.
dude's got the most fucking heat in the WWE right now, even if he didn't try to.
Yeah, I mean, he's 20 years old too, bro. He's got a bright future in the
Right,
business.
and what I saw on that Saturday night main event that I went to is that he's very fucking good in the ring. I definitely think they need to make some changes. He's kind of too big and lanky for the 619 to ever really look fluid. And I think
I could see that.
that's like the biggest thing to me. He's just got to get his own kind of finisher that's made for someone his size, right? You can't do something that your 5'6" dad does and expect it to even look remotely the same. But it's definitely come a long way. I think Randy Orton is hotter than he's probably ever been in the business. I don't know how that's even possible, but the fucking
Because he's a
pop that he
V.
got on Monday and on Sunday or Saturday, whatever day Survivor Series was, those pops were fucking insane. It was,
Correct.
to me, it was almost like LA Knight was coming out there, not saying that they're on the same level by any means, because Randy Orton is light years ahead, but in the terms of being the most over you could possibly be, Randy Orton is there already. Um, it was a good match. He ended up, hitting him with the RKO for the win. I had a little bit of JD McDonough being JD McDonough.
Yep. The McPike.
The one thing that I did like about this one though is they had fucking Jelly Roll in the crowd.
I
For
like
those
that
of you who
too.
know who
I seen
Jelly
that
Roll is,
interaction with Randy.
and he fucking shoved McDonough down, and it was
Yeah,
funny because he's a fucking big dude, and he made McDonough look tiny.
for
So I
sure.
enjoyed that, and then to close out the show, we had CM Punk finally getting some mic time to address the WWE universe. The best part about that one for me, just like a total takeaway, wasn't even on the 6 minutes he had on the mic at all. It was actually afterwards when the credits were rolling, his music hit, you couldn't really hear him. Looks into the mic and he says, "I'm here to make money, not here to make friends."
Yeah,
And to
Scott Hall.
me, I'm like, all right, bro, here's the thing. I understand that you're not here to make money, or I'm sorry, that you're not here to make friends. But at the same time, you weren't in AEW to make friends either, and look what the fuck happened. Like, you
Hmm.
find that line where you're not a fucking complete douchebag and people want to work with you, even if, you could be as shitty as you want to be, but at the same time, know that you got to do what's best for the company as a whole. And it's not just about Phil. Like, and,
Correct.
and I think that's kind of like, to me, I'm just kind of waiting to see if, you're going to get this new CM Punk who actually is going to
Wants to be
change.
there.
But
Yeah.
how much can you really change in a couple of months? So I did hear, though, that they put in a clause in his
Oh,
contract,
like
something
Scott
about,
Hall
yeah, something about like, oh, if he fucks around and tries
behavior.
to, yeah, exactly. So I don't know if it's true or not. It was just one of those kind of rumors floating around, but
Gotcha.
uh, it would probably be the smartest thing they could fucking do.
I also think that AEW is very bush league, bro. And I think he got there thinking it was going to be something else, and he was like, "Oh no,
Yeah, and that
like
could very
this."
well
And
be the
then,
case
and
too.
then, yeah, correct. And the people they have working there are very juvenile and are not 20-year professionals in the business. And even though they have the fossils, but it's different. You could tell the culture is different over there.
Right.
So
And it's definitely, if you're a by the book kind of guy, seasoned professional like he is, maybe that's kind of what set it off. But, I don't know, man. Like I said, it's more than just the AEW kind of shit for me, especially with the pipe bomb and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, I fucking loved it. I thought it was one of the greatest spots ever. But you gotta realize that what you're doing is not only affecting you in certain stances. So
oh
I
yeah,
guess we'll
absolutely.
just we'll just have to wait and see how that one plays out. Let's kind of transition over into SmackDown. Was a very good
Cool.
show. I didn't
Yes,
catch
it
the
was.
first, I think, 30 minutes. I was actually kind of busy doing some things around the house, but getting everything set up for Christmas. So to open up the show, we had Charlotte Flair, Bianca, and Shotzi. They kind of brawled it out with Damage Control. I I'm liking this little trio of Charlotte, Bianca, and Shotzi. I love Shotzi. I think she's great. Bianca Belair is still at the top as well for me. Don't really care about Charlotte Flair, but I feel like in the situation like this, she fits, so I'm not mad about it.
It's another veteran. Give Shotzi the good rub.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of looks it kind of makes Kyrie Sane look a little bit better as well.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm all for it. Um, so yeah, they just kind of duked it out a little bit, and then next we had Bobby Lashley and fucking Butch. Um,
Interesting.
this we both kind of feel the same way about Bobby Lashley. It's not even that he's misused in the situations, because he is for sure, but he's just not good, bro. Like
Nah,
he's
it's very
not.
forced. Very
Yeah,
forced.
he's not good on the mic, and I feel like a lot of his in-ring ability, it kind of looks like he's just fucking rusty all the time, and maybe it's because he's just jacked as shit and can barely move in the first place, but I'm I'm not with it anymore. I'm ready to kind of move on from it, and we'll touch base on that one with a little bit more about him moving forward. But next up, we had Santos Escobar and Joaquin Wild. They, like we said earlier, they've kind of had this LWO and Santos Escobar going back and forth after the heel turn, which I love. I
Yeah, me
think
too.
Santos is going to make a great fucking heel. He's good on the mic. He's a pretty
Yep.
good wrestler as well, and it doesn't hurt that you've been kind of taking that help from Rey Mysterio for the last couple of months. So kind of excited to see where he goes from here. Joaquin Wild, I'm not too much of a fan, but you did have Dragon Lee come out and save Joaquin Wild from Escobar. Like I said, Dragon Lee, I think, has the potential to be great. He's in the number one contender for the U.S. title match, which we're kind of going to transition into here.
Okay.
Logan Paul had returned to SmackDown. He announced that they were going to do a number one contenders match for the U.S. title at, I believe, Royal Rumble. Contestants are Santos Escobar, Bobby Lashley, Dragon Lee, Karrion Kross, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, Kevin Owens and a superstar from NXT who has not been named as of yet.
Nice. I like that.
We kind of
Little
talked about this
caveat.
last night, though. You know, all kind of goes back to LA Knight getting buried a little bit on this one. I feel like he should have definitely been involved in this. Would have given him a great chance to go one-on-one with Kevin Owens in like the final, but it is what it is. We could very well still be seeing LA Knight win the Royal Rumble, so who the fuck knows at this point? And my bad, I just kind of hit the springs on that, so I apologize for the
Gotcha. I thought it was the
noise.
sound effects of like, oh shit.
No. Who sticks out to you other than Kevin Owens? And do you have any idea of who it might be from NXT that could be that number one contender?
I think they're gonna let Grayson Waller get a little shine. I think he has the personality to go up there with Logan Paul. From NXT, I don't know.
I'm going to give you, I guess we'll call this one a hot take. I don't really know how hot of a take it technically is, but he's, one of the top guys in NXT. I think Carmelo Hayes could easily be the guy that it gets added into this tournament. I don't
Okay.
think he'll win, but I think he'll get a couple wins out of it. I could see it being, Grayson Waller or Carmelo Hayes, but I kind of think it's going to be a Grayson Waller Austin Theory before the final, just to kind of. I feel like we're getting into a point with those two that they're going to end up turning on each other. So
Good. We're
I'm kind
waiting
of
for it.
curious. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's going to be a situation where the winner of them is obviously going to be KO. I wouldn't mind seeing KO win this one. I feel like he hasn't had gold in a while other than the tag titles. So,
I like it.
if we're looking at all these guys other than Karrion Kross, because he's had to do some dumb shit on the main roster. So I wouldn't be mad about seeing him get some gold either. But I mean, who else would deserve it over Kevin Owens? I mean, I know Grayson Waller is kind of that heel guy, but that's what doesn't make sense to me for Grayson Waller and Logan Paul, because 9 times out of 10 we're not getting a heel versus heel. So
stupid.
it that one doesn't make sense to me, and I don't want to fucking see Bobby Lashley.
Nah, this guy's not gonna be. He's not gonna sniff that title.
But I could very well also see it being Santos as well. Would not surprise me. So I'm very interested in watching the next couple of weeks and seeing where they go with it.
Fair play.
So then we had Kevin Owens had come out, during Logan Paul's announcement. Then you had Grayson Waller and Austin Theory come out. They start kind of jawing back and forth, and then KO just fucking knocked out Austin Theory right in the face. It was a great spot. Kind of led into Kevin Owens and Grayson Waller. They had a one-on-one. Now, during this match, you had the referee turning his back. KO had his hand on the stairs, and Austin Theory kind of stomped on it. So I'm kind of curious. I'm wondering if maybe we're going to see somebody replace Kevin Owens because of the hand injury, quote unquote, which would kind of upset me because he's really the only bright spot out of the guys that are in here. Other than Santos, I feel like he's kind of on a hot streak as well, even as a heel. But
I'm with you.
We've seen this happen a couple times before where these guys get announced for a tournament, and the next match they get injured and have to be replaced. So we'll see where they go with it.
Gotcha.
Next up, we had Bianca Belair one-on-one with Kairi Sane. This one was not a terrible match. This is kind of where we were talking about earlier, where it started out. Io Sky had told Bailey to stay in the back. They basically said,
Yes.
we don't
Get
need
your
you out
shine
there.
box.
Exactly. So as the match progressed, you had Charlotte Flair and Shotzi had come out with Bianca. They kind of started getting into it with Io Sky. Bailey ends up coming out. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, Asuka was out there as well, and they ended up all getting banned from ringside. And then Bianca comes out of nowhere, ends up hitting the KOD and picking up the win. So I'm very excited. I think this is kind of setting Bianca and Io up for the Rumble,
I
which I would
like
not
it.
be
I
mad
like
about.
it.
I think that's would be a very good match. I think we're gonna probably see that title change hands again. Kind of goes back to not very good on the mic. You know, there's not a lot of story you can tell with Damage Control. So
That's true.
I feel like it's going to be another one that gets disbanded very quickly, and I think it's going to happen after the Rumble. So to me, it only makes sense that Bianca ends up taking that title. Do you think it would go another way? What are you expecting to see as far as women's championships at the Rumble? Like, what do you think if you had to
I
guess
think
right
they got to
now?
give it to Bianca. If they're gonna have someone go for it at Mania, it's got to be someone. It's got to be strong. So I think
Facts.
Rhea's good in the title she has. Like someone will get to Mania, give her a good challenge. But like this Io Sky is, it's cute right now, but come fucking season, you need a bigger name than that to be holding the belt.
Yeah, and let me tell you, man, I think Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill could put on a hell of a main event.
Oh hell yeah!
Hell yeah, I think because to me, you know, like we kind of touched base on this last night, but there weren't microphones around. So to me, it just doesn't make sense that we haven't seen Jade at all, other than a couple TV spots when she first signed. I know you had said that, you know, AEW didn't teach her much, and, you know, that may be true, it may not be. I personally think it's a work. I think they're just kind of keeping it until the Rumble to make her debut, and I think she takes the W.
Nice. Yeah, I can see that, and I'm not complaining. I like it.
All right. So next up, we had the contract signings, right? So, excuse me, Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis both came out to the ring, trying to get Randy Orton to sign to one of the shows because he is a free agent right now.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Orton comes out. You know, Adam Pearce told Randy, he said, "You sign your name on that dotted line for Raw, and I will give you Seth Rollins at the Rumble, no questions asked, for the belt." Um, Nick Aldis, on the other hand, told Randy, "You sign on my dotted line, I can give you the one thing no one else can, and that's Roman Reigns." So, you know, he's looking at both the contracts, the anticipation's building as it always does. In that time, you had Paul Heyman come out basically telling him, like, bro, don't fuck up and come to SmackDown because, you know, the big dog's here.
It's gonna be bad for you. Yeah, yeah, it'll be
Exactly,
bad for you.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, he's going back and forth, and then all of a sudden, Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso come out.
Yes.
Great
Gang,
spot.
gang.
Great spot for me. Jimmy caught a nasty RKO.
Oh
Solo,
yes.
if I'm not mistaken, I don't even think Solo made it into the ring. If he did, it was only for half a second. Then you had LA Knight come out of fucking nowhere, like we talked about last night, kind of just like, oh, we're burying you, but we're not burying you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
Comes out of
still around.
nowhere
You're still
for
involved.
no reason, just kind of takes out Solo, which, you know, guy's getting some TV time still, so I can't be 100% mad at it. But you know, after that RKO, he gets up, he signs to SmackDown, and he grabs the mic. He tells Paul Heyman to go ahead and call Roman Reigns and let him know that Daddy's back. Um, Great
Love it.
fucking spot, dude. Like I said before, Randy's at an
Money.
all-time high. Do I think he's going to beat Roman at the Rumble? Absolutely fucking not. But I think it's going to be a great match. What do you think?
Correct. And I like it for the Rumble too.
Yeah,
It gives you the Mania feel, bro. Like we're in the season. I don't want to be any under par bullshit come fucking January. Everything needs to feel big.
right, for sure. Yeah, and that's my thing too. It's I've never seen a match with Randy Orton, especially at a premium event, that was terrible. So
That's a fact.
I feel like we're gonna get another great one. Again, we're too far past Roman ever fucking losing this title. Apparently, he's gonna have it for the rest of his life. So I don't think Randy's going to win, but I think it's going to be a hell of a match. Do you have any hot takes for today? Anything leading up to WrestleMania?
I don't know. Hot takes. Let me think back of what we've seen. I think we don't get CM Punk and Seth Rollins until Mania.
Really?
I don't think they get in the same ring until Mania.
Do you think it's going to be because CM Punk wins the Rumble, or do you think they're just going to kind of build it up to a Mania match?
They're going to build it up to a Mania match, and they need to do it that way. Like, they shouldn't be in the same fucking ring for ever until they get in there to face at WrestleMania. It should be all backstage shit, fucking keeping them apart. If you want to get cute, you can fucking do like maybe some kind of like tag team thing, where one of them's got to maybe help the other some. I don't know. But I think that they shouldn't fucking touch. They shouldn't speak, nothing until they fucking get in there at Mania. I think that's what made fucking Cody and Seth so good last year. When Cody finally debuted, I was like, oh, bro, you couldn't even give me a promo that was better than this. Like,
right. And to the opposite of that, that's what completely fucked LA Knight. As we said before, they should have never been in that fucking ring, because even at the Rumble, the build up to it would have been insane. And now you're in a situation where you don't know what the fuck to do with him, because you had him take the L, and now you have so many different options. And I get it, but it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Tarnished them already.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's gonna come back around for sure.
Of course, dude, of course.
But it's like,
but the blemish is there. It's like,
exactly.
There was a mystique there for a minute. They had a chance to build him to be, not taking a pin, nothing. We didn't see the guy lose, nothing. There was no reason to think he wouldn't fucking take it at Mania. But instead, now you fucking guy gets beat clean, 1, 2, 3, in the middle of his hottest run I've seen in fucking 15 years.
Right. Makes no fucking sense. I'm still trying to process it all. But I'll give you a hot take as well.
Let's go.
I think you're going to have Cody Rhodes start number 1 in the Rumble.
Nice.
I think he's going to make it pretty fairly close to the end. But I feel like you're going to get Gunther at 30, and he's just going to come in and fucking clean house, and I have Gunther winning the Royal Rumble. That's my hot take.
Good hot take, bro. Good hot take. I like it.
All right, and then give me one more for the road.
Shit. I'm going to say Rhea loses the belt at Mania.
To who?
Shit. I don't know. I'm going to have to see the
more
Rumble
than
first.
That, bro.
I got to see the Rumble first. I got to see who they go. I just know that, like, I feel like it's coming for her time a little bit to get back on the chase. I don't know. I could see maybe Jade.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone's going to do it, it's got to be a big shocker. It's got to be a big name.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. You definitely can't have her fucking losing to Tegan Knox or some stupid shit.
Absolutely
like that,
not. Chelsea fucking Green. No way.
Right.
But it's got to be. But I think it could be. And then that would set up a great feud for them going forward to Survivor Series. Because if Jade wins the Rumble, they don't have to be in the ring together until fucking Mania. Like I said, like that's how feuds used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times they're so quick to rush it just because, and a lot of times it's the fans' fault, to be honest, because we fucking what we want when we want it, and at the same time we're the ones that are like, well, they're not building any fucking storylines, and it's like, no shit, because we're forcing them to fucking give it to us as soon as they decide to do it. So
correct.
It's kind of a double-edged sword there, but I am all good on this show for today. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we head out to the 4:00 games?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Good luck. Best luck to the Browns, and
best luck to Philly too. I know
today.
we got Flacco coming in, so I'm not too confident on it. But that is we'll find out. At least it's only LA. Our defense should be able to handle it. But thank you very much for listening, everybody. Once again, this is Heels Forever Podcast. You can follow us on IG, X, working on TikTok. Follow us on Spotify. Subscribe. Let us know how you feel about the show. Thank you again for listening. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next week.
to play the game.